developer, so if you want to know about code, she's your woman. And the first person I'd like to introduce who's going to speak to you is John Phillips, who's our VP of Business Development, and he's been longer than the rest of us, so he'll tell you all about it.
Oh, well,
yes.
That's a surprise. Really, really good evening, and thank you for coming. We really do appreciate this. This is something that Alison obviously got us involved in initially. We've met quite a few of you quite a few times now, but the really exciting bit for us is, obviously we make games, but to give you an idea of why we got involved with the London Girl Group Games was because not many people realise our market and who our core demographic are. Most people think, well, you make games. We know that the core demographic of general gamers, 29 years of age, 24% female at the moment. That's your core demographic of gamers. Now your core demographic of mobile gamers is actually average age of about 30 and about 38% female. Your core demographic of mobile casual gamers, which is where we are, just happens to be 34 years of age and 68% female. That's why we're in this market. Those 68% are the people who give us enough money to carry on going. Our core audience are basically, it's a 60-40 split, male-female. And that's just from credit cards. That's female credit cards. How many women are using their husband's credit cards? Not that they would. I wouldn't want to assume that they didn't have a credit card. That would be wrong. But the thing is, that's what the big surprise is. It was kind of a surprise for me because I came out of the big games industry. I worked for game stores groups, so I came out of the PlayStation side of things, and I was into like, the core audience is like 15 to 24, you know. It's all these kids, and they save up and they buy a game. And these guys went to me and went, actually, you know what? Ours are like, our average age group is 25 to 45, and they've got shitloads of expendable income. Because a lot of them, either their kids have grown up, they don't have kids, they're in good jobs, they're university educated, college educated people. These are the people that buy our games. A little bit smarter than your average normal person. So I'm thinking great aspirational gaming, which is even better, because if we can sell games that people aspire to, then we've got Star Pocket, that's another story if you have to do that. I try to aspire to that on a daily basis. So the really interesting bit is, I came in doing the marketing side, which Alison took over very successfully and far better than I did. And she focused on the female side. The thing that I've come across in business development, which surprised me, is a lot of the key decision makers that I deal with on a daily basis, especially in North America, are actually women. The people who are making the decisions in our marketplace, especially in the smartphone and mobile marketplace, are women. It's not men that are making the decisions, and it's driving the industry onwards. It's helping us out. In fact, you'll meet one of our key partner decision makers a little bit later. I'll introduce you to Lisa Whelan, who we've worked with now for about 3 years. Used to work with Harmonies, who's what had helped us get a great working relationship with Harmon. But these are the kind of people that are making a difference to this industry, and that's why whenever I come to these events and you get people going, oh, I'm not sure how, the tech industry is really male focused. You know what? The mobile tech industry definitely isn't. If it's male focused here, just move to the US or Canada. Learn tech as well. Fine. Okay, the exchange rate's not that great at the moment, but if you live there, that's fine. That's why we brought Lisa here, because we make her feel poor whenever she comes here. And the exchange rate. So the mobile space is very, very different. Mobile game space, well, as you see, Kat's now our second female lead developer we've had, who's developed her own projects. Priscilla came to us initially as helping with QA and support. She is essential with our partners. She actually deals with all of our core partners, which includes the massive ESDs, it includes Microsoft. It includes Andengo, electricity, people like that. Of course, Alison's dealing with all the press on a daily basis. So the thing is, our business is the same split. It's basically 60-40 male-female at the moment in our office. About 50-50.
We did have girls.
We had a girl who did that. Did we? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Missed that. See, I don't class them and all women. They're just assets. No, sorry, they're teammates. That's what's important. So what I'd like to do now is, that's a brief about where our market is. Let me actually bring that developer up so she can have a word with you.
I work at Astraware. I was employed as a web and games developer. Though the last time I touched the website was many months ago.
Sadly.
Many months ago. So I'm going to talk about what it's like to work at Astraware and how I became interested in games. Well, interested in games, who isn't when you touch a computer? From the first time I played Monkey Island 1 on the Click Adventure, I thought it was what to do.
Oh, cool.
Right. Catherine, middle of the room, Catherine. Right, okay, yeah, that works. Unfortunately, I found myself doing web development because it was easier. And then I thought, well, this is a bit boring and I really would like to get back to the games. So I applied for Astraware and said, well, I can't write games, but I'll do your website for you and then learn it. And I got hired. And within 6 months I was working on my first project, which is now released and sold over 2,500 copies. Which is nice.
In literally a couple of months.
Yeah. My first project was Astraware Solitaire, which started off as my test application to see if I could write games. And suddenly it was a big project and all mine. And I had to make decisions about what games would be included, what different rule sets there would be. And one of the fun things is you can change the colours entirely. You can choose all your different colour themes, your card backs, your card fronts. And there are arguments over which colour should be the default one, because obviously it should be purple. But apparently it's now green. I don't know how that happened. And the thing that made our Solitaire different was including a trophy system, so that rather than just, yeah, I'll play a game of Solitaire, it's I want to win the next trophy. I'm going to play this different version and try it out so that I can get that trophy, collect the whole trophy, and then play with pretty new cards. And each time you make an achievement, you get something new to play with, which keeps you coming back, even though it's just Solitaire, as people kept telling me. Yes.
We should have like a spin up a team so you can see what they're doing to the back.
That would have been fun. Solitaire, yes. And then it got released and everyone likes it. Everyone at first was a bit, it's Solitaire. What can they have done that's different? But now everyone likes it, as people like that. And being a girl at Astraware makes me difference. It's just, there are girls there. I was the second female developer, but now I'm the only one. Doesn't matter. She left.
Yeah. The men or women, we don't know. Put up the developers.
How many other developers are there? At present, our development team is 4. Including me, there are 4 and 2 artists. And at present, we're all working together on games, which is much more fun. When I started, we all worked on our own individual projects, but now we're working on our own games together. So we're all interacting much more, and it's much more learning from one another.
If anyone wants to see that you see look at what she's working on, you can come see me later.
What will mean?
When you see what's on your own games, your own
project?
At present, we're mostly just working on a single project at once.
Well, there's
What
multiple
about if you
games.
have like 2 different clients, you use something full?
We don't do things like that.
Oh, sorry.
We do contract development,
Because
but
why I've asked that, because she said we're working together at first, but they are working together. So I assume that when you say you're working full, that means you have a project.
yeah, we have multiple games in development at any one time.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, we have a couple of outsourced developers we use. Actually, one in Ireland and one in Moscow, who are also exceptionally good. But the thing is, when it comes to our guys, the projects we want to keep in-house, these guys do. This project we're currently working on has many internal games.
So do you want to develop that one as well?
Yeah, but normally the situation is they work on a game title each, a different game each. But we're at a stage at the moment where some of the games we're doing have multiple games within a game. So it's a bit like...
Can I don't know, sorry if I'm is what your games actually product?
Yes, physical product.
Yes.
Yes,
That is why you're doing that, it's not like a project.
No.
Fine, sorry.
No, sorry.
I like now. I like that.
So what things did you struggle with when you first started learning mobile gaming?
Well, there was a language barrier first because I'd never touched C++ before.
Oh, I thought you meant the swearing way up. Oh, right.
Well,
Okay, that's good.
but working through books in my spare time while I wasn't doing web development, quickly caught up to speed on that. After that, it's working with palms which is the most difficult because they like to throw at random errors. All works perfectly on Windows mobile device, put it on a palm and it will just crash. But we're getting there. I'm getting there.
How are you coping with the multiple device testing and multiple different...
Multiple device testing out of the QA department, they do that for me. And then they come over and go, doesn't work. And I go, yeah. Don't get a better device.
How do you feel? I mean, I work with different teams, also like how do you really feel personally to your team? Well, there's no problem with that, because I think it's great. You bring humanity to factor. Sorry, Chris, I'm not an ass. But, but men are quite great, because I've always worked with men, I don't have problem with them at all. But sometimes some women do feel, that they really want to feel it's going to be a problem. But I don't feel that I've never had a problem with men at all. Men are fantastic. I think they are where I work. So how do you feel? Could you speak up again, please? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't feel it makes any difference. Particularly in the office we're in, we're all in one room basically. So even though I'm the only girl in my team, there's still lots of girls around. Anyway.
And the men is supportive and everything.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last thing I went, and also when somebody comments, not all, a few comments about men feeling that because they have women, they feel have to do themselves. I don't think I can do myself in my work because I work with, I'm very collaborative in what I do. I'm very interested in where I come from. I'm not very technical as you are, but I have a technical understanding.
It's probably worth mentioning at this point, I had a conversation with our CEO, who is a chap, and had a conversation with him the other day, and he said that in fact every single woman that has come into the office to apply for a job, he has hired.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Whilst you maybe don't see as many women as you apply for those jobs, he's always found that the women are more than competent, and real asset of the company. So, that's the atmosphere of, non-discrimination comes right from the top down. because I just got off a plane about 3 hours ago from the States, so I'm really loopy, and I had a beer earlier, so it's going to be a really fun talk. But basically, I met John and Allison through being consultant at Palm. And when I was at Palm, I was working in the developer relations group, business development group. So I did a lot of working with developers, and I think I was used to seeing a lot of women at Palm. In mobile, there was tons of women. Developers, there were fewer in sort of developer events, kind of geek developer events, but there's still quite a large number. And I think in the Bay Area, particularly where I'm based in San Francisco, there's not this. There doesn't seem. I worked in London, and there seemed to be like more of a kind of a boys' club thing going on a little bit. And in San Francisco and in the Silicon Valley, it doesn't seem as bad. So it's sort of an interesting. I think an interesting dynamic. There's absolutely tons of women who are interested in social networking and social media, and one of the ways that I sort of got interested in that was working at Palm and seeing Astraware doing a lot of kind of cool social stuff through the marketing department before things like Facebook were sort of up and running and around. MySpace was up, but like adults weren't using it. It was sort of a kid thing. And Allison was doing some really cool stuff with trying to do competitions and like pairing winners, trying to show people who got the highest score of the day and that sort of stuff. So that kind of was one of my first exposures to kind of social things with people that you don't know. And there was like the LinkedIn thing that was happening. All this stuff started evolving, and so I started writing a blog on social media, and it's socialmedia.vox.com. I worked with at Palm, a lot of companies that were sort of on the forefront of social networking, blogging, that sort of thing. So I worked with Six Apart, who makes Vox, TypePad, Movable Type, and that's how I kind of got into the blogging thing, and then from there had some opportunities to do a little bit of consulting. But I think the most interesting thing in terms of recently that I've sort of seen with regard to social networking is I went to a Facebook app developer conference. It wasn't hosted by Facebook, it was hosted by a company called Social Media, and they founded earlier this year. There were tons of people in the room, of which there were about 3 women who were actually developers or kind of on the business side, and then a whole host of VCs who were women, like 3 or 4 women VCs, and they had panels. So they had developers getting up first and talking about what they were working on, what they thought the exciting areas were of social media, and where people were developing apps for Facebook. And then they had all these business people come on and talk about where there's needs and what have you. Then they had the VCs come on, and the VCs were saying that there's a huge amount of money to be had for people developing apps for Facebook that span not just Facebook, but eventually span mobile and regular sort of PC-based products. So they're willing to spend an absolute boatload of cash right now to infuse money into these companies that are doing Facebook apps. So if you have ideas and you're coder, or you have business ideas, they're looking at Facebook as sort of the next big thing, as a sort of social networking platform, social networking operating system of sort of the future. All these VCs you've probably seen on the news with VCs Bay Partners open up their own funds. Facebook's just opened up their own funds with their VCs, and there's just an absolute huge buzz about investing in Facebook apps right now. So I think it's an exciting time to be kind of tech and be social media, social networking, and I think what's really cool about social networking stuff is that it's non-discriminatory at all. It's one of those things that women and men both socialize very differently and the same all at once, and so there's a lot of opportunity for everyone to kind of get involved and start their own little business, bubble within the bubble, if you will. So if anyone has questions about social media.
I have one about the Facebook conference. Did anyone ask the question about when Facebook is going to have OpenID?
People did ask the question, and basically no one knew the answer to that, but there was there's no one from Facebook at this conference. It sounds a little weird, but there were all these movers and shakers, all the big tier A VCs, there were 3 or 4 represented there. Lots of different geeks that had lots of secret meetings with Facebook, so kind of alluding to things. But as far as OpenID goes, no one had any real.
So how she just asked me to pose, and then I said, I'm going to just answer her question. She said nobody had, they were all secret meetings and all this stuff. How are you asking people to invest or to just do something on Facebook?
Oh, sorry? You mean like, so basically the meetings that I was referring to were...
Sorry, can you repeat her question?
I think what she... Please want to repeat the...
Yeah, one of my questions is that she just asked you, about Facebook stuff. He said, you just keep on, he said, invest in them and do some ideas, but there was a little bit of secret tea.
Oh, I see.
So, but when you're asking people like us or anybody else, so okay, you can invest on Facebook, you can give your ideas there, but you're not certain about it.
No, I mean, I guess what she was asking was, I mentioned some like secret meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Basically,
that's what I'm saying.
what I was alluding to was the fact that like you didn't have anyone from Facebook actually at this app developer conference, Facebook app developer conference. There's a lot of people who had had a lot of non-disclosure meetings with Facebook, and you could kind of sense by the way that they were casually answering questions, you could infer certain things from that. So a lot of it was about like, a lot of the things you can kind of infer was around the mobile API, when they're going to open up the mobile API, and what the mobile API is going to consist of, and there was a lot of things that, just based upon the way people were answering questions, you can kind of infer that things were happening.
What are you encouraging people?
Oh, basically there's a lot of opportunity to develop applications using Facebook's open API, standard open API now. But there will be even more opportunities for in the future. And what this conference that I went to kind of was all about, was encouraging people to kind of think of ideas for development. And the VCs who are there were talking about how they're really interested in investing in companies that are going to be part of this new Facebook economy. And not just the Facebook economy, but the Facebook economy in conjunction with mobile, in conjunction with regular PCs and the internet. So them all blended together.